let's get into the real estate market. Dylan, anything? What's going on? What's changing? What changes have you seen that's going on real estate on the Big Island?
So here's the big news over the last couple of weeks is that inventory has risen for the first time in 6 months. So since really January, inventory has continued to fall, and we've been under 400 homes available on the whole island since March. And that's been true all the way through July. And in July, we got down to 330 was kind of the bottom of the inventory availability. And then in August, it started to creep back up. So we went to 360, then 390, and actually I just checked this morning. We're now at 419. So we've cracked 400 for the first time since March. The last time we've had 400 homes on the market was back in March. So to put that in context, right? Normally we have 1,000 to 1,300 homes on the market. So we've had this really low inventory market for pretty much the whole year, and now it's starting to creep back up. We'll see if that's a trend that's going to continue going forward, but that's a positive sign that the market is somewhat normalizing after a very insane year.
So are you thinking perhaps this is like the beginning signs of a trend that's where things are beginning to kind of slow down a little bit? Or I guess we'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Well, here's the explanation. My speculation based on what I'm seeing and all of the different transactions and listings that we're involved in is markets always adjust, right? And so what's been happening is, because it's been so crazy, sellers are now being really aggressive on price. They're being almost unreasonable on price. And buyers are finally starting to say, oh, that's too much. I'm going to stop there. And so we're seeing properties sit on the market a little bit longer. We're starting to see some price reductions. And so here's just a word of advice for sellers. And this is not just in Hawaii, but in general. The biggest mistake you can make as a seller in a seller's market is to overprice your property, because what we're seeing is, and I'll give you kind of like a median home price example. If your house fairly is worth $800,000, right? So you normally price it at $799 or something like that. But you say, nah, you know what? I'm going to price it at $850 because I want to maximize the amount of money I'm going to get out of it. What a buyer thinks, this is the buyer psychology right now, pretty much across the board nationwide, is a buyer is expecting to pay over the list price. So they're going in with the mindset that I'm going to have to pay 5-10% over what the house is listed for. So they're okay with it. They've accepted that. They've been dealing with it all year. And now when you overprice your property by 7 or 8 or 9%, the buyer looks at that and says, I would have paid $850 for that house, but I'm not going to pay more than $850, or I can't pay more than $850. So they don't even make an offer at all. And so you miss out on all those buyers who would have been competing at that price and maybe would have paid $860 or $870, but because in their mind they're thinking I got to pay 10% over $850, they don't even get in the market. They don't even get in the mix at all. And so I've seen this in a couple of listings where the property's overpriced, and we may get that price, but instead of having 10 offers that probably would push it over that price, you only get in 1 or 2, and there's more concessions. You're not maximizing your terms as a seller. So I've really been pushing sellers to be reasonable price. Let buyers push that price up and figure out what the terms they want to offer you to make their offer attractive. Let them figure that out, and don't push them on price, because I think you leave money on the table. If a property's priced at $800 and somebody's willing to pay 10% over, they're willing to pay $880, right? But if it's priced at $850 and they're not willing to go 10%, they don't even get in the market at all. So you could be leaving $30,000 on the table, right? And that same buyer, they don't even offer. They would have offered $880, but they don't even offer at all $850. So there's some interesting psychology going on there.
That kind of goes along the line with like auctions, like a no reserve auction, right? Where you put something on the market, there's no reserve, so there's no low price, but it gets bid up because the market drives it. So let the market do its thing. That's good advice. We got a couple people who joined us real quick. We have TB from Taichi Island, Georgia. Cool. I never even knew there was such a place. Thanks, TB.
Tybee. I have a client that owns a house there. Yeah.
Tybee Island, yeah, TB, yeah, that is, me, I can't pronounce English or any long. I can't pronounce. When I see strange words, I try to apply like Hawaiian pronunciation to them, and it doesn't work. Right. And Neil, welcome back, Neil. It's good to see you back again, buddy. Back to us. And we have a quick question. Well, here, let's take Tom's question later. Scott, what's going on? What is happening on Oahu? What's been the big change in the real estate market that you've seen over the past few weeks?
We're not seeing the slowdown over here. We haven't seen the listings increase at all. And in fact, for me, I mean, it's no different than before. I went to go show a condo in Waikiki the other day. I called her. I had actually written letters to this building, and the agent told me they were going to be coming on. So the first day it came on, I talked to her. I went and saw it, and she said, "Oh my God, I've had 30 phone calls to be able to see this place already." And that's on the condo side. The condo side's heated up. I got one in escrow the other day. We had to go full price cash, and we were competing with 4 in Waikiki, but they had literally 20 some showings over like a 4-day period. And on the housing side, same thing. I mean, I just wrote an offer. This gives you perspective on what's been going on. I wrote an offer in Makakilo on a house. We were competing with 26 other offers. We didn't get into first position. We had a $100,000 appraisal clause, and we tightened all these contingencies up, and 35% down is what we were writing. And I asked the gal, she said, "Would you be in a backup offer, but come up in price?" And I said, "Well, what are we looking at? I need to explain this to my client. You're just randomly telling me, would you come up in price?" And she said, I said, "Where were you on the first position?" She said, "A much higher price." They came back to us about 50 grand more up for the counter. And I said, "How's their appraisal clause?" She says, "Not that good. So we'd like to have you in a backup." And we were willing to come up. And I was like, why didn't you call me during this time? You could have had us in a first position. But out of all those 27 offers, she said every single one of them had an appraisal clause. There's not a single person that's, offering in this market. There's a ton of cash in this market. That's what's so different about 2007 versus
real quick, so what does appraisal clause mean? My brain is stuck on appraisal clause. When you said all these offers had appraisal clauses, what does that mean?
Yeah. So if the appraisal doesn't come in at our agreed upon purchase price, then the buyer will make up the difference up to a certain amount. And for us, it was up to 100 grand. If it didn't appraise it, let's call it 950,000, my client would make up to $100,000 of appraisal shortage, right? So there's a lot of people and every single offer had that, all 27. So people have money in this market when they're coming to the table. And that's what's really interesting. I looked at the $3 million and up range just for the luxury perspective. And halfway through the year, I went back to 2019 to look at it. Halfway through the year, we're 50% more number of sales than happened in 2019. So even the luxury market, 3 million and up, is going bonkers. There's just a ton of people and a ton of activity and a ton of money in the market right now. And I'm not feeling the slowdown on our side yet.